Hi, my name is Jay Gershman, co-chair of Federation Men's Engagement. I hope that you've had a chance to take part in our recent Zoom meetings that included my interview of UConn coach Dan Hurley and Eric Zach's interview of Mark Wilf, owner of the Minnesota Vikings. We have an exciting lineup already scheduled for this fall, but first let me take a moment to explain the purpose of men's engagement and our overall goal. In order to do so, I want to give you a little insight into how I got involved with Federation, why I donate, and why I think it's relevant to you. I believe that I'm very similar to most Jewish men in my age group who grew up in the greater Hartford area. I went to nursery school to JCC and have been a member ever since. I had a bar mitzvah, was married, and my children were named at Beth Israel. My wife and I and my children now belong to Beth El. However, I am not Shomer Shabbos, and I don't even regularly attend religious services. But being Jewish is my core, and my life has involved Federation-supported organizations. When I was growing up, all I knew about the Federation was Super Sunday, the day when somebody would call my family and we would make a small pledge. Growing up in a middle-class family with grandparents who were first-generation immigrants, I never witnessed large-scale giving. My dad was only able to provide for us, but could only do so much in the way of charitable giving. My understanding of charitable giving was to pass a wall of donors at the JCC and synagogue and see the same prominent family names who donated generously to support our community's needs. As I became an adult, it was easy to rationalize that if I only did what my parents did, things would be okay because these families would continue to support our community. Today, that belief is being challenged. Many of the founding fathers and mothers of our community have passed on. Today, many people like myself, who never had a family tradition of charitable giving, have not chosen a path commensurate with their newfound income or wealth. For me, that all changed about 7 years ago when Henry Zach shared with me his charitable giving plan, a spreadsheet that listed every organization that he supported and the amount that he planned to give for that year. What amazed me is that it wasn't a random process based on who asked the most or had the most endearing story, but a budgeted breakdown of the total he decided to give, broken down into all of his many beneficiaries. At that moment, I was motivated to make a bigger difference. For me, Federation made that process easy. It was a one-stop way to give to Jewish organizations here in Greater Hartford and in Israel. And I was so fortunate to see the money they had given to Israeli organizations when I joined the Men's Mission and heard firsthand the stories of beneficiaries that brought me to tears and strengthened my resolve to make a difference. Then I began to ask myself this question: what can I do to motivate more men who grew up like myself, establish a more meaningful plan for giving? When I asked the men of this community earlier this year, I heard many of the same things. We don't want to be asked. We want to be engaged. We want to learn. We want to participate in team building. We want to raise money for projects that we care about. We want to build our businesses by meeting other professionals and business owners. That, my friends, is what we plan to do with men's engagement. But during this pandemic, it has made it impossible to have us join together in person. So we have created things that could bring us together virtually. This month, we're going to hear Alan Lazowski, chairman of Laz Parking, give you the history of Laz Parking, from the first car that they valet parked in 1980 to becoming the second largest parking enterprise in this country. But the journey was not a straight line to success, and Al's going to be very candid about his secrets and his struggles and how his values played a major role. In October, Solomon Society is sponsoring an amazing event because we're going to hear from two extremely successful entrepreneurs who have built their businesses, and they're going to give us insight into how they did it and how to avoid some of the many pitfalls. But making money isn't the only thing important to these two men. Rabbi Daniel Cohn, author of the book Creating a Life of Legacy, is going to interview them and learn what makes them and drives them to give back. I believe it'll be very motivating. We're going to wrap up the fall with an interview from Ben Zacks of Fine Fettle Dispensary. Ben's going to discuss the medical uses of cannabis and give us a look into the explosive growth of the business of cannabis, which is now legal in many states. Let me end with a question. Rabbi Daniel Cohn asks, how do you want to be remembered? What's the legacy that you want to leave? I hope you will find those answers as part of our Federation Men's Engagement. Thank you very much.